WWE is going through its annual post-WrestleMania cull, just like it did last year. It has come to terms with the release of the following individuals: Samoa Joe, Peyton Royce, Bo Dallas, Chelsea Green, Kalisto, Mickie James, Billie Kay, Wesley Blake, and Take. That's currently who has been released as of post. We don't know if there may be certain ones later down the line. I remember last year there was a staggered kind of release, so there may be more. I will refresh, and if there are any more during this podcast, and obviously I will speak about them. This has, of course, cued the annual I Hate WWE brigade on social media, who are furious, and also a lot of independent wrestlers and former WWE wrestlers that release, like Heath Slater, Lio Rush, guys like that, are using this as an opportunity to, jump on the bandwagon and slag off the company as well. What are your thoughts on the releases, mate?
I mean, if they're not going to use them, let them go elsewhere. I'm okay with that. I'm sure, because that's 9 individuals so far. They are wrestlers because they want to wrestle. If WWE is not going to use them, let them go elsewhere.
It should be pointed out as well, just to jump in, sorry, mate.
No, by all means.
John Laurinaitis, according to Sean Ross Sapp, who is a fairly credible source, even though he bores the tears off of me, according to him, John Laurinaitis was the one making the rounds, and the excuse that was given is apparently budget cuts.
People power! The fucking company that just made $1 billion by selling the network to Peacock. But, you got a budget cut.
To be fair, I will say one thing, very unpopular, and I am not somebody who believes in corporations. I am highly anti-conformist, and I have nothing but the utmost respect and sympathy for people who lose their jobs. I've lost many a job in my time. However, just because somebody is rolling in money doesn't mean they can't still cut budgets, okay? People seem to be of the assumption of, oh, you've got loads of money, therefore you should just employ everybody and hold on to them. That's actually not very good business ethics. That's how you lose money. And if they're looking at a plethora of staff and thinking, you're actually clogging up our system, getting paid a lot of money and not doing fuck all, then actually it's very sensible from a business standpoint to remove those people from your business. Also, we don't know for a fact how many of these people didn't ask for their release. How do we know that Samoa Joe is the only one that really jumps out to me, okay? Because ultimately you're thinking, right, Samoa Joe, world-class talent, world-class on the microphone. However, even he hasn't worked really properly in earnest for a couple of years now, and people are saying, oh yeah, but he was a workhorse backstage, blah, blah. There's loads of people who are workhorses backstage, okay? Fair play to Samoa Joe for being a workhorse, but let's not act as if he's the only. I hate that excuse. Oh, he's a workhorse. What? So nobody else works, do they? He's the only person backstage putting in a shift, is he? Come on. This is the problem. People are now, taking the social media with faux outrage, because let's be honest, the majority of people who are angry aren't that angry. Give it a week, they'll have something else to get angry about. They're fickle, they're narrow-minded, and ultimately they're going to find something else to be outraged. What they are people who like to be professionally offended. What? WWE released some people. This is an opportunity for me to be offended. Not because they genuinely care about the morals and ethics of business. They just want to fucking shit on WWE because it's fashionable to do. And of course, they all want to go on the Twitter and say, AEW, sign all these people immediately. Yeah, sign more people to your bloated roster that you cannot fit onto your free, terrible TV shows. Come on, man. I watched Dynamite this week. Now, admittedly, Dynamite is quite good. However, fuck me, the amount of members of staff and wrestlers they have, and you just think, you can't find room for the current roster. How are you going to fucking fit all these other people in? You're going to have to cull people yourself. And then what are we going to do? Are we all going to be like, oh, well, Tony Khan was really nice about it. He rang up everybody and sent them a bouquet and some chocolate. So, AEW's great at releasing. They just release people the right way. I mean, ultimately, these people are going to be homeless too, but they just did it the right way. Fuck off. There is no right way to release people from your job. It's very easy. Very, very easy to stand on your ethical and moral high ground when you're in a position of poverty. Okay? Very easy to do that. I'd like to see just how many of you out there, if you came into money or wealth or prosperity of any kind, just how eager you would be to spout a lot of the faux outrage that you have on social media. Also, I'll be honest with you, who gives a fuck about half of these releases? Ask yourselves genuinely, if you're outraged right now, ask yourselves genuinely, how many of you truly gave a shit about Wesley Blake? How many of you have truly given a shit in the last year about Bo Dallas? How many of you have actually really given a fuck about Kalisto? I'm sorry. Okay, you can make an argument for Billie Kay. Absolutely. She was doing really good on TV. I think that's a loss for WWE. Do I think Samoa Joe overall is a loss? Absolutely. Do I think Peyton Royce is a loss? I mean, holy swing. I mean, just from image-wise, a loss. But also, you know, the fact that you split up the Iconics and now they're just shit can, and you know, those are dumb decisions. But don't tell me that any of you truly give a fuck about Tucker or Wesley Blake or Kalisto, please. And as far as Mickie James goes, with all due respect, she's had a Hall of Fame career. And I'm pretty sure Mickie James is doing just fine. I'm sure financially she's very secure. She's got a wonderful husband who is also an incredible talent in his own right. She's got a wonderful family. She's set for life. How do you know that Mickie James didn't just say, do you know what? I'm probably going to leave. Do you mind if I go on NXT or something? Maybe do something to give back and then I'll be done. You don't know that. People want to assume that everything is evil when it comes to WWE. And a lot of times it is, but a lot of times it isn't either.
It's so weird when you think that, you know, for example, Billie Kay was on WrestleMania. She was in that tag team turmoil match or whatever. And now, like a week later, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame that.
Would it be so? This is the fucking stupid thing about this. Is it going to be morally superior if you don't put her on WrestleMania and release her? Oh, because everyone's saying, oh, she was on WrestleMania. Surely that's a better thing, isn't it? I mean, she's just been in the spotlight. She's just been on the biggest, you know, wrestling show of the year. You know, the biggest marquee event you can have in the entire history of wrestling. If anything, her stock's pretty high right now, surely. Like, this is a good time for her to get a release because she'll have no problem finding work elsewhere.
I don't think a lot of these people will have trouble finding work elsewhere, to be honest. I mean, the biggest one for me personally, and I know you said was Joe. To me, it kind of reminded me of like Randy Savage in like the mid '90s, or I guess early-ish '90s, when, you know, they forced him onto the commentary booth. He wanted to wrestle. They're like, no. He's like, okay, I'm fucking off and going down south. I honestly believe Joe could be in a similar position because I don't know why he wasn't wrestling. He was probably physically ready. They're just like, no. And he's like, but I wanna. So he left. You have to take that kind of stuff into consideration. Same with all these people. They want to wrestle. And if WWE is not going to use them, just go. There's plenty of other places they can go now, especially right now. This is a big boom just in North American wrestling in general. There is nowhere that would not excel picking up any of these talents.
These talents are all going to be picked up, whether it be Impact, whether it be AEW. Do you know what really cracks me up, though? This is where you can see right through all these fickle plastic fans, okay? It's not everyone, but it is a large majority. And I'll tell you how I can see through all you fucking fakes is because you're all out here saying, oh, they better fucking sign for AEW. Oh, they better sign for so-and-so. If you really care about the wrestler, surely you don't give a shit as long as they're happy. Surely you care about their well-being, their financial security, making sure that they make the choices that are right for them. Remember when EC3 got released? AEW, AEW, you know, that kind of stuff. And it's like, actually, he was very happy doing a quick run in Impact and then going to Ring of Honor because that worked for his narrative. You don't get to dictate the wrestler's narrative for them. If you truly, truly, truly give a shit that they've been released, then you will be happy irregardless of where they go, instead of spouting your fucking bullshit nonsense on Twitter and saying, oh, well, they better go to AEW. Fuck off. They can go where is best for them. It's got nothing to do with you. You're not in charge of these people's careers. And it just cracks me up so much because instead of actually sitting back and waiting and thinking, okay, let's hear from actual sources or from the people themselves, maybe why they were released, maybe they asked for their release. We don't know any of that. Now, instead, they're just going to use this as an opportunity to just jump on WWE. The reality is you're being faux outraged, faux offended for the sake of just pissing and shitting on WWE just because you don't like them. If you really don't like them that much, why are you still watching the product? Why are you still paying for the WWE network? Last time I checked, human beings have a choice, and this is why you're fucking fickle. Because ultimately, if you really were that passionate about it, you wouldn't watch the product anyway. And you wouldn't be bothered. If anything, if you're not a fan of WWE and you're a huge fan of Impact or AEW, and I'm a fan of a lot of different companies, by the way, so don't be coming at me saying, oh, you're just a WWE one. No, I just live in the real world. where we have sensible conversations and we understand that there is always two sides to a story, not just the one for the people who are professionally offended and live in the fucking uber leftist world. And by the way, I'm not right wing either, so spare me all that fucking bullshit too. It's funny how many of you people just make assumptions about my character and leave hate mail in my inbox every day just because you can't handle the idea of me formulating an opinion that is different to yours. And you're welcome to debate and argue with me in the comments, but of course, if you're just going to come on and call me a fat cunt or whatever, well, you're not going to get very far. It's as simple as that. I'm just going to block you or ignore you. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry, but if you remove Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and Samoa Joe, nobody really gives a shit. They just want to pretend they give a shit because it looks cool and it might give them some clout. But carry on whinging on Twitter. Ultimately, you know, banging on Twitter and trying to take the moral high ground, it's not going to pay your bills. It's not going to pay for a pint of milk. You're not going to be able to go in the shop and go, yo, I got 100 retweets because I stood up for Billie Kay's human rights. Yeah, congratulations. Get your fucking wallet out or stop wasting my fucking time. Live in the real world, mate. It's pathetic.
I mean, at the end of the day, does it suck that these people lost their jobs? Yes. But do not for a single second, anyone watching or listening to this, think that these people will not find work elsewhere.
Yeah. You know, yeah. Also, I've seen people immediately coming out and saying like, oh my God, the Iconics need to go to AEW. Absolutely. If AEW had a fucking clue how to use women properly, they are certainly on the up, it has to be said, but they are well away from proving that they can run a competent and professional women's division. Okay. I would much rather see the Iconics go to, in fact, Impact would be perfect for them. They'd be perfect as, you know, people to come in, especially with Jazz retiring as well. That Knockouts division is really suffering, particularly with Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh breaking up as well. This is a perfect opportunity to bring in a tag team, refresh the order a little bit. So, you know, it's all very well saying like, oh, everyone should go to AEW because they're treated well. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that's great. But you don't make that much money as a business by just looking after everybody and allowing them to just do whatever they fucking please. If every single person turned up the workforce and their boss just said, you do whatever you want today, you know, whatever, as long as you're comfortable, as long as you're happy, it doesn't really matter. We don't really care that much about the workload. Great. Okay. Nothing's going to get fucking done. You're not going to make any money. Sorry, that's not how business works. And again, let's be honest, the only people who are outraged are people who have never made a fucking dime in their lives. And it's easy to sit in your mum's basement and complain about how the world owes you everything. But if you're not really contributing or grafting hard, you know, like we are every single day, you know, nobody can sit there. If you want to say to me, you're poor, so you should fucking have that opinion, that's absolutely fine. But ultimately, I graft and I put 14 hours a day into my trade. You know, I work fucking hard for peanuts just to be able to afford to eat dinner. So don't tell me that I don't know what it's all about when it comes to hardship, because I do. And I've spent my last 2 years of my life, particularly, and the majority of my life, dealing with poverty and hardship and strife and everything that comes with that. I don't go on social media every 5 minutes and complain about capitalism because it's easy for you people to just have a little whinge, to have a little moan. It's cool, whatever. I deserve opportunities because I work fucking hard for them, because I'm fucking good at what I do. Not because I need to go on Twitter and have a little cry. Sorry. No, that's going to offend people. Don't care. I get bored of it after a while. It annoys me because actually I would rather talk about how, you know, these people would benefit from going to certain companies, or where it would be interesting to see where they land going forward and how great it's going to be. For instance, Kalisto, he can go back to AAA if he wants, you know, him and his wife, if they have the opportunity, could go back to Mexico and be fucking fantastic. Might I add, and make a lot of money. You know, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce will have no problem. They'll be hoovered up immediately. Samoa Joe is the kind of guy, I don't think Samoa Joe is going to be out of a job very long, especially if he's ready to go, wrestling-wise as well. You know, people are saying on, oh, he should go to AEW because he'll be a megastar and he could immediately be their world champion, blah, blah, blah. What about Lance Archer? What about Rusev? What about all these other guys who apparently could do that as well? You know, until AEW is a proven commodity that pushes these guys and shows that they can be more than what they were in WWE, which they haven't done at all, then ultimately I'm not impressed and I'm not interested. So,
let's see Samoa Joe in Japan. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I love how people just turn their nose up at Japan so much, you know? Who doesn't want to see Shingo versus Samoa Joe?
I'm gonna give me Ishii and Joe, dude. That's what I want. want Ishii Joe.
Yeah, a couple of meaty hosses slapping each other around. That's for Japan, where real men wrestle. That's basically what they should do. They should just rob the WCW moniker where the big boys play. Anything else you want to add to it, mate?
No, I think that about sums it up, really. Again, it sucks, but none of these people are going to be hurting for work, I don't think. So they'll be okay, guys. It's okay. Your concern, regardless of how fake it is unnecessary.
That's my issue, by the way, and I want to clarify this before everyone blows up my inbox, which they do anyway, because oh my god, heaven forbid you have a different opinion to the fucking clusterfuck of sheep out there. But I actually have nothing but sympathy for the individuals that have been released, particularly if they haven't asked for their release and they've just been released, because I know that WWE is so many people's dream jobs. However, I also want to look at it from the positive aspect of I know that these people will find work elsewhere. These are all very, very good professionals. You know, it just, the difference between a lot of people and myself is that I don't have fake outrage to it. I just don't, you know, and I'm not going to use this as an option. You know what you're getting with WWE. Don't pretend like WWE is all of us. How could they do this? Yeah, WWE isn't really renowned for doing horrible things or shit canny people. How do you think you make a shit ton of money? It ain't by being a nice person, okay? Yeah, there's a big reason. Do I think that's good, that there's a massive generational wealth gap and everything involved in so many different countries, particularly in Western society? No, that's not a good thing. However, I also understand how they make their fucking money. It's funny because all these people think Bill Gates is a wonderful human being, and ultimately, who's been stockpiling the most finances on his end? Him. You know, it's so funny. Oh, he's a good billionaire. He's different. Oh, Elon Musk is different as well. Really, I'm sure if we got every single business decision they made, they would be clean as a whistle. So fucking stupid and naive. Please grow up. Any final thoughts, mate?
No, I think that sums it up right there.
Yeah. I love how Canadian you sound. Well, I think that sums that up right there.
That got it right there. Don't need any more of that negativity.